All right, cool. So we live. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? This Josh from KeepItTechie. You know what I'm saying? And this is my third tech talk. And today I got another special guest in the building. I'm gonna be interviewing, somebody else that's in tech. I believe he's an IT specialist. And so, as you guys know, my background, I've been in the field for over 10 years and everything, working in different positions. But, it's always good to hear, other people's, accomplishments and experiences working in the field and try to bring that information to you guys, that are trying to get into the field. So I appreciate you guys, coming through and hang out with me and my guests. But today's guest is it's a cool is I'm excited about this one because I actually went to high school with him. I also was in the military, with him. So we spent some time in the military as well. And he's from my hometown of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But I want you guys to welcome my guest, Chris. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, 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 good. Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, and kicking it with me, man. But
Hey,
let's
no
go
problem.
on in let's go on in and jump right into the interview. But the first thing I want you to do is introduce yourself as well as, give a little background or give a little bit about your background.
All right. First off, Christopher Williams here, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I grew up in Baker, which is right there. Um, let's see. I know it's been a while, but graduated from Southern Lab, real quick. Um, Enrolled in Southern computer science program. Of course, what happened is I did what everybody else does and got into that college party life and probably failed every single class I was doing for the first year. After that, I realized I needed something new because I've been doing school and stuff. So I decided to join the military. Oh, so smart, me. Anyway, not going into too much detail about that. So, Army Reserve. Not gonna lie, it wasn't full time. Did the Army Reserve, did my training. I was actually 4 points away from military intelligence, and I'm so happy I didn't get that because that requires you like to learn another language, and usually they send you overseas. But I ended up getting a high enough score to do anything dealing with computers. So I that's what I wanted. So I chose computers. So in the military, um, did my the usual military training or whatever, which was fun, and my AIT. Oddly enough, for mine, it was 6 months, and the average one is you know all about this. What, maybe 30, 60 days for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, for ours, it was close to 4 to 6 months. So got a lot of military training. The majority of the training took place on Linux, which we will get on later. It was pretty fun. Other than that, once I came back, got a career in small IT jobs. Started from the bottom, like CompUSA, actual hardware and stuff. That's kind of where my talent lays with hardware. After that, I re-enrolled in. Actually, I was doing odd jobs. I wanted to go back to school, but it was, kind of hard out. So I tried to get into the industry without a degree, and the military experience was the only thing that helped me. The military experience coming out. So one of the jobs I got after I came back and maybe got out of CompUSA and got a little bit more training. I was looking for, honestly, I went to a recruiter. I was trying to find the best job for me because it's kind of a catch that I've always found out in the industry, which is pretty funny. Before we get to the question, I always wondered, how do you get the job if it requires experience, but you can't get the experience without the job?
Yeah.
That always, like, man. So you almost you have to work hard early in years to get something where you can get the experience. Once you
Hmm.
get in, stay in, get the experience. That's what it is. Most people don't tell you. Uh, I mean, you can get all the training you want to, but it is hands-on experience. Anybody can read a book and Google, but have you actually tried that Google method and found out it doesn't actually work, go as smooth as you think? So I did small IT jobs, got a nice one, and from there I decided to go back to school. I think around 2010 as a readmit, and finish in 2016. I almost pretty much had to start over to make sure I get the good grades, but end up graduating December of 2016 with a computer science degree. Don't have any actual certifications. Um, and I have my personal opinion on that. I'm not knocking anybody who gets certifications, but do your research before, because a lot of them expire, and you'd be surprised how quick 2 and 3 years can go by before you figure you got to take another test and study for it, and all
Yeah.
the stuff is new and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a quick check. Um, Military backgrounds, numerous IT jobs, which we'll get into, which helped me. Went back to Southern, got my computer science degree, so I could make sure I had that piece of paper to back everything up.
Hmm.
Um, and the most recent job I had, before I switched over to just more of a part time to work on like my IT business, was Deloitte. Which, if you hadn't heard of Deloitte, it's a Fortune 500 company
Yeah.
that usually does contracts, and they usually up there with IBM. I would say equivalent, because most of them usually bid for contracts all the time you work for. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself without going into too much detail. But yeah, always been in with computers. Oddly enough, I got started with computers um, young. I've always wanted to be three things. And funny thing is, the first one was an artist. I'm actually pretty good, really good at decent at drawing. The second thing was psychologist. And the very last and third thing on my list was uh, a computer scientist. I was good with computers, but I never thought to be a computer scientist. Like, oh, I like computer video games. This is cool that I can do all this stuff. And ooh, what's the internet? But never wanted to get really into it. Did my art thing in high school, went to an art contest and lost. And because of that, it brought me to my second, which made me realize I don't want to be in school for 17 years to get my
Yeah.
doctorate for psychologist.
Yeah.
So I diverted that. I went down to computer science, and it ended up working out to be the best thing, because I found out I actually have just quite a talent for computers. And the first time, it's funny, because this is actually the part where I that got me in computers. It was my brother, and I made a promise. It was the funny promise I made to myself. It actually came true. We had old computer. My dad owned a pawn shop. Somebody brought in an old computer. He brought it to the house. It was floppy disk, old school. Was born in '82, so you can kind of
Mm.
do the years. I was there with floppy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We couldn't get it to work. It was on the DOS prompt, but it was a DOS prompt. So what do you do? What do you do with DOS if you've never had a computer? You don't know what's going on. There's no Google to be like, how do you use a computer?
Yeah. Nothing
Uh,
like that back then.
Nothing. So I have a DOS prompt, and I'm looking like, I know this is the future. I can't believe I'm sitting here with an actual, PC computer, and I'm using it, but I can't do anything. Finally, we come around to somebody finding a floppy disk with a game, and I think it was called Load Runner or something. Nothing but a stick figure that kind of runs around, almost looking like Donkey Kong, like first generation, just stick figures and lines. But it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Uh, I think this is even before I saw an Atari. So to me, it was mind blowing, because I didn't know, I heard about Atari, but we didn't have one, and way before Nintendo. So
Mm.
I have this computer, working computer, and a floppy, and I don't know how to use it. Of course, nobody, my dad, my mom, they're just laughing like, we don't know how to use this. But they kept saying my brother, I had a half brother, he wasn't living at the house, and he was always good with computers. He was always talking about it. So he came to the house. All right, before then, his brother was not good with computers. He came to the house. I swear we had 7 people come to the house, and nobody could do anything with that computer. They could not install that floppy disk. They could not get it to run. They could not show me anything. They didn't even know commands, simple ones, BIR, anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, my so I gave up. I was like, obviously computers are just worthless. Like, this, I this is pointless. I'm so sad. I can't find anybody that knows what they're doing. And my brother comes over and he's like, "Oh, I got this." And I'm like, "No, you don't. Some people came over here. Nobody has this. This is impossible. This is stupid. This is stupid, stupid, stupid." I remember being so upset about it. He comes over and he sits down and he just starts typing nonchalantly and stuff goes across the screen. And within 15 minutes, he had the game installed and was sitting there playing it.
Oh man.
And the entire time, I'm sitting there with my mouth open. And I remember distinctly to myself, saying to myself, I will learn how to do that, and I will learn how to do it better than you. I can't believe you just I can't believe you just came in here and shamed all these people who claim they knew everything about everything. Nobody could do anything other than turn the computer on and just waste time for the longest. I mean, when people get arrogant, "Oh, I got this," and it's just like, please, just go. He came there in 15 minutes and did it. And I made a promise in my head and was like, I will learn how to do that, and I will do it better than you. So that actually started my love of computers. As far as like, man, I love technology and stuff like that, and that was the motivation I went back to once I found out I couldn't really do anything else. So that's my quick story how I got started.
Okay, cool, man. I appreciate that. Um, so let me I guess kind of roll into the next thing. Um, so let me ask you this. So if someone is actually trying to get into IT, where do you think they should start?
Um, First off,
And this is
evaluate
this
what
is
you
kind of the tie, kind of to help younger people that may
true,
come through and everything, and
true.
just to
So
put that information out.
I'm gonna try to be as helpful as possible, at least from my experience.
Uh huh.
Um, IT is such a broad thing. So come in knowing what you want to do,
Hmm.
um, and stick with it. That's the biggest thing. Know what you want to do and stick with it. An example of what I mean by that is we can say IT, but I can divide it up into hardware,
Hmm.
software.
Yep.
Let's say we go with software. I can divide it up into programming, or I can divide it up into testing. I can
Yeah.
divide it up into installing or IT security or installing routers, the physical aspect, hardware. Or you can go into straight up monitoring where you don't put any programs at all. Or you can get into the heart of it where you write the code line for line. So know what you want to do because IT is so broad. So let's take an example of a basic mixture of a job. Where you want to start. Start with the basics. I noticed that most students, Southern University is great. Let me say that. If you go for their computer science department, I know the dean there, uh, Dean Dr. Kasravi, yeah, really great guy, and he tries to help the students. And he's made the computer science program better. So what I noticed there is they do more software than hardware.
Hmm.
So let's say a young person goes through, gets their computer science degree, and then they'll software. So the first thing they're going to think is programming, and you want to get into something with programming. Keep in mind what that entails. You have to know the language. When I say know the language, you got to know how to do some stuff. You even starting off, you can't come with this. Oh, I just took the class, and anybody can take a Google class. You have to actually spend some time to learn what you're going to do, experiment with it, really get into your courses. So let's say you're starting off with a college degree, or you don't have a college degree. You want to get into the IT field, but you know it wants to be more of a. I'm trying to think of a good example, like realistically, because we can say IT, but let's say they're looking for something down here. Um, IT support. Most people start off with IT support, which is I would say would be a good thing. So every company usually has IT support,
Hmm.
and down in Baton Rouge, there's actually quite a few of them. So you could do Cox if you wanted to. Turner Industries, actually, I wanted to go to, has a nice IT support team. If you wanted to look that up, most banks, credit unions need
Hmm.
IT support. So start basic from IT position where you can let them know, hey, I have my computer science degree. I'm just starting off. I have the knowledge, but I don't have experience.
Hmm.
Let them know. Let them know that in the interview. Do not lie to them. Me, if I was a supervisor, I don't care what's on your resume. I'll read it. but then I want to know what kind of experience you have. Are you quick at learning? You good with situations? Because if you've been in IT field, you know nothing ever goes textbook
Yeah.
ever. So getting in, I would say look for a small IT help desk job where you start from the bottom and you learn what kind of problems you're going to run into. Because the truth is, if you're truly an IT specialist and you say you overall, you could be the king, queen of programming. But if your computer goes out and you don't know how to switch out RAM on your computer, which I've had many computer scientists call and be like, my computer's broke. I'm like, well, that's awesome because now you get to fix it. Well, I don't know how to fix it. Well, man, you are starting off, not in the right position. So get experience with everything. Once you get small jobs and move on and get experience. So getting into it, I would say you're not going to have any experience and they look for experience. So don't lie on your resume. Let them know that you're really looking to better yourself and you're looking to get a job to get the experience. Talk to them. Let them know that. I don't know that much, but I know a lot, but I don't know that much, but I'm really good at learning and I want this job to learn more, to get better. I can only get better if I get the job to learn. So I would say that's more important than actually trying to get experience. And most people be like, oh, tweak your resume and make it look good and this and that. No, as soon as you get there and they ask you a simple, basic question that you can't answer because you lied on your resume, then man, you in a world of hurt. Most
Yep.
people don't hear about this in the background. They just give you the broad story. Oh, I didn't get it. I guess I wasn't qualified. But they didn't tell
Mm-hmm.
you they ask you a basic C or Java question on, or what's the difference between a class and an object, and you got Java on your resume, but you can't answer that simple yet need to know, hard question of information. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So bringing it down without going into the long story, what I would say is starting off, find you a little help desk job. If you got the computer science degree, you're not gonna get a 80,000. It doesn't work like that at all. If you get lucky and get that, by all means get it. Get what you can, but you usually have to look for a small IT job and start from the bottom and learn the different things with IT. That way you can get help. You can get an idea for, oh, I hate help desk support. I don't want to touch hardware, or I just want to do software and installing printers and drivers, or I hate all this IT stuff and I just want to program and write the programs to do it itself. Or
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any of this and I just want to secure the system. I just want to set it up where I know if I'm preventing somebody from hacking into the system. So know what you want to do before and pursue that to get the experience. You can find a job. Like I was saying with mine, I actually went with a recruiter, and a recruiter set me up based on my skill level,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of people don't realize. That's actually what got me. Look for a recruiter. That is how I got most of my jobs. So I didn't really stick with one job. For me, it's unique. I'm what they call a contractor because of our military experience. I had
Mm-hmm.
a top security uh,
Top secret.
security clearance,
Yeah.
top secret security clearance. Thank you. And because of that, it got me in a lot of contracting jobs that you couldn't usually get. For example, I actually did a contract for NASA,
Mm-hmm.
replacing the computers at the Naval Stennis Center right outside of Mississippi,
Okay.
and that was one opportunity right there where you can, you don't necessarily need a degree. If
Mm-hmm.
you have the experience, it may be something else, or maybe know some people, or a recruiter in itself where they can find you something. So if you're having trouble finding an IT job, actually look into recruiters. The majority of the jobs I got were from a recruiting company that called me and said, we need an IT specialist to go down to Hancock Bank and switch out the computers. And we trust you because you're in our system with a security clearance and you've got everything. So they'll call me, do that, and bam, I'm on a contracting job making at the time when I'm young, maybe like $25 an hour, which is outstanding for somebody that was my age. And 5 hours at least, I finished the job in 2 hours because of experience. So I know how to do it. So yes, recruiters. Look for
Yeah, yeah.
recruiters and see what they can find you as far as IT.
Hmm.
If you can't find anything, and you
Now, let
might
me,
get lucky. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, let me ask you this though. I mean, what are your thoughts on actually leaving if you can't get something, along that level? And I mean by leaving the location that you are, depending on what type of jobs are in the area. You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of my position. I I interviewed a lot throughout Baton Rouge, and
Uh,
and I got to the point where I just decided to try a different location, like Houston. I started applying in Houston and bigger cities. So I guess I'm wondering what's your thoughts on that? Like actually,
Honestly, I hadn't really had to leave a state. There are
hmm
opportunities here. There
yeah,
are. Don't get me wrong. It's that's what I was saying. It's opportunities, but oddly enough, the truth is this is Louisiana, and it's not that technically advanced.
hmm
To be perfectly honest, we are last on the list to get any kind of technical advance.
yeah,
Sorry about that. But I have my thoughts on how to go about that. And it's usually a recruiting thing.
hmm
I don't get me wrong, I put my resume out there and I've done the same thing where I'm just waiting. Oh, your resume looks good. Second interview was sorry, and it's happened so many times and discouraging. Uh, but then if you go to recruiter, they get straight to the point. With most jobs here, I'm not gonna lie. Two things: the technology is not that great as far as job opportunity. It's getting better, and the thing is, they kind of have it's about who you know type mentality. I hate to admit that, and I know I'm getting into something
yeah,
different, but I mean reality.
yeah.
Reality.
It's reality.
I'm not gonna lie. Like reality. If y'all got the experience, I don't want you to get hurt finding out. Like, whoa, I was more experienced and I still didn't. It happens. But
Hmm.
don't get discouraged. As far as moving away, I really think that depends on the person
Hmm.
because honestly, you can really get a job doing anything, and I found out it's really based on what you want to do. So if you don't get nothing you want to do, most people say, "Oh, I want to go work for Google, Microsoft, move to Silicon Valley." Do your research.
Hmm.
I wanted to go to Silicon. All right, so I wanted to go to Google and Microsoft too, but I found out it's you got to be about that life. You
Hmm.
really do. Keep in mind where you're going. Just like anything else, it's an experience. Let's be truthful. Just like with a Fortune 500, when they say get into IT, I say get your experience, get into the industry, learn as much as you can to get a job with longevity, if that's what you're looking for. Me, I didn't go that route. I went small contracting jobs, which is just as lucrative. But my downside is I got the experience. I can do any contracting, but I don't have a retirement plan. I'm not going to work Monday morning to do anything, which is fine for me. I don't have any kids. I don't have to really have like a health plan for a family or anything like that, so I can travel and do contracts. But as far as like Silicon Valley and leaving out, do your research. I found out that you may be up there, but all you're doing is bragging about where you work.
Hmm.
Cost of living is high. You get stressed out. I hear at Google. I know people that work at Google and Microsoft, and I hear it's highly overrated. Plus, my biggest thing I found out from working with Deloitte is no matter how high you get on the totem pole, working for companies like Google, Microsoft, you never really hear anybody graduate retire from a Fortune 500 company. That is just one thing I can say is I've tried, I've looked. Yeah, so I work at Microsoft. Are you gonna retire there? No. Within 2 years, they're gonna replace you, or you're gonna get sick and you're gonna move on. Um, and I've talked to people like that. The way it's structured. Um, Same thing with Google. You get your experience. It's nice. Oh, you get to sleep in the chair. You get a little free room. But are you going to be working there? No. Most of the people there, once you get 30, you're an old head.
Hmm.
No
Well,
matter how much you know.
Well, it seems like that's going across all industries now. I mean, it seems like they're
Well,
not. Go ahead.
I was mainly referring to young people. with
Okay.
the
Yeah, I got
excitement,
you.
with the stereotype. No, that's you're right. You told it's through all industries, but that's you make a good point. It's true. It's through all industries. So don't get caught up with I want to go to Google, I want to go to Microsoft, and end up finding out that moving to Silicon Valley was the worst thing you could have did because your job is great, but you got to commute.
Hmm.
Uh, Working for Google, half the people sleep at the office. That is true. When they see them in the little lounge chairs, and most people think that is so cool, but no, you don't get to go home. That sucks. That might
Yeah.
be fun if you. That might be fun if you're young. You can do that, but do your research. Don't let the stereotypes get you. It's just like, I'm gonna go to Microsoft, and no. So go to a credit union. Find a credit union that needs their IT redone, and go there and impress them. Um, Most people never think of that. If you're
Hmm.
in that, if you're trying to do IT security, don't try to get to a big company. You don't want that drama. You don't want that drama at all. Go to a small bank or credit union where they have a team. Stuff is already implemented, so you can sit in the background and learn, get your certifications based on that, and move on up. So I guess my advice would be realistic with realistic expectations to start and build yourself up.
Hmm.
And most people would be like, no, you have to. With the IT, you have 10 years experience. I guarantee you, when you first started off, you were skeptical and nervous. Now, after 10 years, you laugh at. I guarantee, I know you laugh at problems. Like, oh, really? You didn't know how to fix this and this? Let me warn you, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna happen for you to do that. So it's based off an experience and not really getting off on expectations. For any young person, know what you want to do and do your research, and don't get bogged down with the mainstream going hard. I want to go to my because that's all I hear. Oh, I want to go to Microsoft. I want to go to Google. You got to move to Cali,
Hmm.
and you might
It's
get that
expensive.
$80,000 offer. Yeah, you might get that $80,000 offer, but 80 down here is
Oh yeah.
that's really doable. Up there, you share an apartment with four other people. Hence, why you sleep at Google. Why do you think they
Hmm.
sleep at Google? Because it's fun? No, because they can't afford apartments. Same thing with Silicon Valley. So I say, as far as moving out, don't get caught in the stereotype. Look for if you move out, look for places you can actually stay.
Yeah.
Um, like you can sustain. If you get homesick, go Texas, or you can find jobs
Hmm.
anywhere. Just do your research. Don't be one of those people that's like, I'm going to. Not knocking them at all, but be a little bit more smart about it when finding out what you want to do.
I got you. I got you. So let me ask you this: how do you keep your technology skills current?
All right, so I don't have any certifications, and
Hmm.
they're wonderful. If you can get them, by all means, I respect anybody who gets certifications. But I found out they have a date. Usually, most certifications have a date. So even with me, I took the A plus, and I mean, within 2 years, it's obsolete. I have to take it again.
Hmm.
And most people in the IT industry that experience, they like to see that, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, oh wow, you got the A plus, but you've only worked at a company with real IT stuff less than a year. So,
Well, I've
uh,
experienced I've experienced different. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to go back and forth on this, but you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It seems like that certification kind of certifies that you understand what you're doing, especially when you get into these higher certifications like Net Plus, Security Plus, all that good stuff. But what are your thoughts, man? I mean, I'm just
oh,
trying to.
definitely. No, like I said, I'm not knocking it whatsoever, and I respect anybody who can go for that. But for me, like the N plus, I knew two people who wanted to get Cisco certified,
Hmm.
and the drama they had to go through. Like once you get Cisco certified, you would think I can get any job. And they went through all this drama. Books were so thick, and they were intelligent. Because I tried, and just with the certifications, you got to get hands on. You got to go for 3 sessions of tests, I think, and the last one involves you rewriting an actual Cisco router for you.
Hmm.
Man, I heard. And they get this cert, but neither one of them got a job. And Now everybody's experience is different, but this is my personal with them, and this is
Mm-hmm.
why I'm kind of going off. So when I say like N plus, oh, if you can get it, you got it. Like I can't even talk to you no more because you went certified past me, and that's what I said. Know what you want to do. If you're doing networking and you go with your N plus, then by all means go for that cert. Me, I do hardware,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't really need a certification. If I was going IT security, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I would want that security plus. From my personal experience, I've usually dealt with basic hardware and software, so I didn't need a cert. But
Mm-hmm.
if you have the opportunity to get one, get it. But do know, real life says you're not going to get a job. So going off of that, this personal experience, they got their Cisco. One of them did get a job, but it wasn't really related to Cisco. Pretty good, but then again, he stayed for 2 years, and he had to Cisco. I think he had to renew every 2 years.
Yeah,
The other
something like
person,
that.
the other person, straight up killed the test. I mean, his name is still on the list, like in the top five that got it.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, he hadn't went back to the IT industry. He could not, even with that cert, he could not get a job. Because I was excited for him, like, man, the FBI is gonna call you to get a job. That's sick. Because it's a list they put your name on. Because Cisco ain't no joke. Man, he never got a job.
Yeah,
Never got it.
and see that's why I kind of I don't know. I mean, I let people know, you always had that option to leave where you from, in order to get something, if you really want to get in the field, you know what I'm saying, and if you
Oh,
really want to go
thank you.
forward.
And that's gone over anything. Like if you're passionate
Mm-hmm.
about it, or if you need to get your job and that's your skill set, by all means,
Mm-hmm.
deuces. No, I left with the contracts. No, indeed. I was what they call road warrior. I was never at the house. I think I was Trace Security. That's what it was, and that was the one with the recruiter. And I told my recruiter, I hear they got jobs where they pay you, they pay for your flights to go. And I was like, I don't believe this. I don't think that's true. And she bust out laughing. And I was like, this is not a joke. I hear this. I ain't never met. I don't think this is true. I hear see the commercials on Delta where the people take flights for their business. And I'm like, I know it happens, but that's CEOs. That can't be just. She bust out laughing. She said, give me a little while. Even my mom didn't believe her. Took her 30 days, but she found the people at Trace Security, which actually paid me to go out and do IT security audits on financial institutions,
Wow.
small credit unions around the United States. So when I say I did that and I went hard, when she found it, I excelled. The dude actually, the one who brought me on, said, "You don't have any experience, you don't have any certifications, but you do have a military security clearance, and I can see you're passionate and you're quick to learn."
Mm-hmm.
And I think they gave us a little test to see how much skill we had. And he put his confidence in me, and from there I excelled at that job. But yeah, as far as moving out, he already said it. He was like, "You'll never be. It's almost as if you don't even live in the state." So no, if you need to move around to get what you needed to get done, and go.
Yeah,
Ah,
I've actually got offered a couple positions where I would be traveling a lot, and they would pay for flights and all that stuff. It was when I was working, uh, when I actually got some experience working with this program called Oracle Hyperion, which handles financial data. Well, you know they have a lot of those positions all over the country where people need help with those financial systems. So yeah, so those opportunities are out there, for anybody, just putting it out there. But back to you. So uh um what are your thoughts on well, nah, you kind of answered this already, so never mind. I was just gonna bring up the degrees again, as far as certifications, but nah, you good. Um,
oh,
let's
get
go
get
ahead.
get something. Get something.
Yeah, go
Get
ahead.
something. If you can't get the college degree,
Mm-hmm.
get the certification. If you can get the college degree, get the college degree.
Yeah.
Um, it is it's so worth it. Get the college degree. Man, I cannot emphasize that enough. How yes, I've been in the industry and with the people. if you have that college degree, it solidifies everything you know. And you'd be surprised how many people don't have that. And that's when you get into that. It's about who you know.
Mm-hmm.
You get into it and be like, wow, how did you get this job? Um, but that's, like I said, a different story. If you can, get your certification. Start off with certification. If you can start off with a college degree, I no questions, go for that. And I know it's not that easy for some people, but no, if you can get it, do it through financial aid, because once you get it, um, this one is kind of different from most degrees. Some of them you really don't need it, but the computer science one, because anybody can Google how to fix a computer, but
Mm-hmm.
I have a computer science degree backing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I'm all for that. Get your certifications, get your degrees.
Cool, cool, cool. Um, so I mean, since my channel, is all about Linux, I try to bring in some Linux questions as well. Like, how important is Linux, to you, as far as, I don't know, work? Have you ever worked with Linux in any of your positions, or do you use it,
Yes,
personally, and
yes.
all that good stuff?
So the military used Linux um, as the basic computer training. We didn't use Windows. I
Mm,
don't know what that's about or how accurate. The time I really got good with Linux was when I worked at Church Security doing the IT audits.
mm,
So if you do any kind of, we're ethical hackers. If you do any kind of hacking, um, the real hackers, I don't want to say them brag or anything, but when I got that job, I got to say it was the most eye-opening experience because they hired a bunch of talented hackers, computer people.
mm-hmm.
So I was the Windows guru. I could pretty much do anything with Windows. When I say rewrite, no, just little basic stuff that most people didn't know. Power command, PowerShell, running stuff in administrative mode, and little stuff I don't need to get into. There was one guy who knew Linux like the back of his hand. I don't know how, because Linux is mostly open source command line, but with him, I learned a lot about Linux and I used it way more than I thought. Now, if
Mm.
you want to get into which is better, blah blah blah, not gonna,
Nah.
I, yeah, it's not gonna get into that argument with any. I know you're not gonna do it. Not gonna get
Yeah.
into that argument with anybody. But my personal experience, as far as like security wise, Linux is what you use when you're doing your security. Most of the open source programs, um, I want to name 1,000 of them, but if you do any kind of hacking, you can Google and see that most of them work with Linux.
Yeah,
So
Kali.
that was my
Kali Linux
yeah
has a lot of the
yeah
tools on it.
it's yeah with
Yeah.
exactly. You can get the distros where they already
Mm.
come with the built-in tools and your net scanners and all this stuff like that. So my experience with Linux, you have to you have it's a must. If you do any kind of IT and you're serious, you have to play around with Linux. You have to experience. You have to install it. You have to break it. You have to know basic commands for it.
Mm-hmm.
And um, yeah, and I say that because it's the basis of everything new. Computer languages. I want to get on that too. So
Okay.
I am C, C++, Java, basic. Don't get me wrong. I feel some type of way about .NET. I feel if you want to go .NET, great career, but you got to start and stick with it. Never stuck with it. C Sharp is a good one. Everybody keeps telling me I need to learn that, but I'm old school and stubborn. Um, you got your basic HTML and CSS, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not with your web pages and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's if you do get your college degree, you'll touch on all that. If you're pretty much at the house educating yourself, like I said, know what you want to do. If you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do web, you can't be like, oh, I'm IT. I develop web pages. I fix computers. Because you'd be surprised. People who are really good in programming have no idea what the cloud is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh yeah, the cloud. Well, the cloud is sophisticated and blah blah blah. No, the cloud is nothing but a server
Yep.
put up somewhere in a location
Yep.
hooked to the internet that we call the cloud.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
try to tell people that all the time. I'm like, it's just
all the
cloud stands
it's
for
just
another person's computer. That's all it is.
computer that's connected to the internet,
Yep.
and that's why I said it comes on hands-on experience where you got to learn it. Like
hmm
touch everything and get an overall, because people say the cloud. You can claim, oh, I'm an expert in transferring large capacity data over the cloud. But if you don't even have a concept that the cloud is just a stupid term they use to describe a server,
hmm
then you are out of luck. And if you come with this interview and your resume looks good and I ask you, I'm going to ask you, what is the difference between the cloud and an email server? Something is crazy stupid like that. And
hmm
your response should be nothing other than it does email
Yeah.
or something similar to that. Well, both are a server. Like no, wow, I've heard some people, they want to joke, oh, because it's floating in the clouds, it's in the internet. Like if you don't go sit down somewhere with that, but no, get an overall thing. Linux is important. Um, Learn your hardware.
hmm
You're not IT if you can't fix your computer. Programming means nothing if you don't know how to identify hardware that can help your programming.
hmm
You know, how can you run complicated programs if you don't actually know the specs on your own computer and that they won't run?
hmm
Going into like IT, people say IT. Let's go into the whole. You want to do programming to write video games for the young ones starting out. Well, if you don't know how to build your own gaming computer, how do you expect to write the programs?
hmm To where
Or at
it
least
understands the hardware that you're running it on.
that is utilizing.
Yeah.
Do you know why you can't render this? It's not because you don't have any skills, it's because you don't know about video cards and how they should be installed properly. But you're not doing hardware, but you should know this. Or
hmm
like get overall experience. That's what I did. And for me, that's what it was. Yes, Linux, all the distros, get your hands on some Macs. Most people don't realize that hardware has operating systems. The Cisco router has its own OS on it.
Yep. Exactly.
So get your hands on everything, and yeah, don't limit yourself. Linux, I ain't gonna lie, I love it. We don't need to go back and forth. So to answer your question, yes. People watching, get your hands on the distro and play with it because it's actually funner than Windows.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. We know Linux and Unix takes it out. My favorite distro was Ubuntu,
Okay.
but I hadn't done it in a while. I was doing it before they had the hardware to really support it because it's the real Ubuntu uncompressed is really hardware uh, heavy.
Well,
But
it's the desktop.
I'm saying that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the desktop. Yeah. So I'm saying because you can go all kinds of cool things, but I'm saying that. But honestly, I hadn't used it in so long, so the new distros, I'm pretty sure run smooth. This was probably around like when Windows 7 first came out. So man, we're on
Mm.
10, so we're talking. I don't want to do the math and say how many years ago, but yeah, um, yeah, Ubuntu was my favorite if I had to mention one,
Okay.
and small Linux.
Let me ask you this. So I know you talked about programming language. So what are your thoughts on Python? Have you dibbled
I
and
haven't
dabbled
done
with
Python.
Python?
I have not. I heard about it. I think I saw it, but Python was kind of before my time,
Mm.
and Southern wasn't teaching it. Southern had just moved from Python to Java.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a taste of Java, but I
Mm-hmm.
honestly didn't get Python. They actually moved away from C also, because there's C and there's C++. C++ being just another variant of C, but it
Mm-hmm.
still has its tweaks that you have to learn. They moved away from C, got to C++, totally moved off of Python.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have stayed in school back in 2000, I probably would have learned something. But by the time I went back as a readmit, they replaced it with Java.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah.
I think nowadays, last time I went up there just to say hey to the teachers, C# and Java and JavaScript. I
Okay.
don't think they moved it to .NET, but they've gotten really big with Java and JavaScript being that IBM is major recruiters for
Mm. And the reason I ask because I've read plenty of articles where they're saying, Python is becoming like the most popular programming languages nowadays or whatever. So I mean, and then also based on my experience with working with programming languages, uh, once you learn one, it's not as difficult to learn another. So is
at
that true?
all.
Is that
That
true?
is so true.
Okay. All right.
C plus. The only reason I got as far with Java as I could in a short amount of time because it's just a variant of C plus plus.
Yep.
So find a language, stick with it,
Mm-hmm.
and practice it. So when we went to Java, we're writing. It has a diff. So Java is nothing but C plus plus on steroids. It just uses a different basis to make things easier. Modules, classes.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you can take 100,000 lines worth of code and compress it into a module, combine modules, so you have multiple modules instead of a million lines worth of code, which you have to go through that one set of code. So it
Mm-hmm.
improved, like every language improves. I hadn't really come across a language where I'm just like, oh my goodness. No, honestly, if you know C++, then you're gonna love Java. If you know Java, you're gonna know C sharp. If you
Mm-hmm.
know C sharp, you're gonna know what Python was based off of. If you know Python, you probably know all of them because all of them
Mm-hmm.
were like an early, Python was an early
Yeah.
variant of all of them. So
Yep.
no, learn your language, get your language, play around with it, because
Mm-hmm.
you'll be surprised. Oh, with all these new script kiddies, kids want to write video games. That's perfectly fine. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not knocking that because it shows you how to program. But most of them are just like, I want to do video games. Well, do you know C++? What is that? Man, at most video games, even to this day, are written in C++. The best video games are written in C++ and rendered through other software, but the basis
Mm-hmm.
of it. And even Android is based off on Java, which is just slightly better than C++. A semicolon, a comment, parentheses different here and there. Maybe the structure of it goes at the top. You don't have to put start program semicolon in sect and stuff like that because with Java is no. They learn one and they all kind of build up on each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
So yeah, once you've seen one, you kind of seen them all.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta be honest with you. .NET. I have not experienced .NET, and everybody that is what they want. If I had to get some advice, I'm so sick of people asking me, "Do I know .NET?" And I'm so sick of laughing in their face. Like if I knew .NET, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Yeah.
At least for mine, I don't know what it is with yours, but the last ones I went to, they're looking for .NET, and I don't know why that's in such high demand. I really don't. I didn't do my research on it
Mm-hmm.
because I guess I was being stupid and stubborn. Like that's the only thing I don't know. Forget y'all. Like I know everything else but .NET. Why y'all keep asking me for that? What is .NET? Why? Obviously, it's the truth in the future. But I found out with .NET, if you start it, you better finish it. It's one of those. I've been doing it for 2 years, so I really know about it. Nothing you can Google overnight at all.
Mm-hmm. I
So
got
that
you.
one takes it. That because he uses it with .NET. It's just like, oh, you do work with .NET, so at least 3 to 5 years experience, right? You got me. You got me. I don't know nothing. I just put it on the resume. But not. I've heard .NET. Other than that, the rest of them, .NET, C sharp, and C++ and Python. Because C++ is still used for most video games.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Basic video games. Your indie games that most people can write without having to work for a multi-million-dollar company, some Sony company, are your indie games. Indie games are written C++. So yes, know your languages.
Cool, cool, cool. So let's roll right into, asking some of the questions from the chat or whatever. I'll just read them off to you. Let me see. I think it was one I saw. Um, how do you how do you practice with hardware? You gotta. Well, I'll let you answer it if you want
Oh,
to.
so I noticed, how do you practice with hardware? Get you a cheap PC.
Mm,
I'm so into it where I repair Don't use a good computer. Find you a $100 discount PC. You'll find them. Get somebody PC that broke and they want to give it away, but it's still coming on,
mm-hmm.
still running Windows 7. It's still running Windows 7. Just get you an old piece of hardware, take it apart, see if you can put it back together. Uh, that's the best I can say.
Now
Before
let me.
you go start to build a computer, get you one of those flat boxes. I know everybody has an old computer. Break it, take it
Mm-hmm.
apart. What happens if I don't sit where the computer come on if the RAM isn't seated right?
Mm-hmm.
Cause can the computer come on without RAM? What does it do when it come on without RAM? Yeah, it makes a loud beeping noise, you guys. Actually, the computer knows. What happens? What happens if one of the cords isn't plugged? Hey, break it.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube it. Have a computer. Because when you open it up, they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
Seriously, once you've taken a computer apart 3 to 4 times, it's like anything else.
Yeah.
Way easier. If you switched out a screen on an iPhone, then I'm mad at you for not taking apart a computer because it is nowhere near that complicated.
Yeah. Well,
So,
let me ask you this though. So as far as hardware goes, do you have you played around with any Raspberry Pis or you know about those?
not only do I know about the Raspberry Pi, my business is based off on selling the Retro Pis, which are
Okay.
uh, the Nintendo classics rebuilt using a Retro Pi, which is a mini computer.
Mm-hmm.
And to show you, this is what I just got, and I just looked at how to build a Game Boy Retro Pi. So, do I know about Retro Pis? I literally got them to see what I could do with them. So, as you can see, I build a Retro Pi. This is a wireless controller for a Retro Pi turned into a Nintendo gaming system.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, I don't want to get into it. You want to call me back for a second phone call because I know I know everything about Retro Pis.
Okay.
I've taken them to the limit. I built the little mini box computers with the little monitor. Oh man, I was trying to think of cool ideas to do. And my latest adventure was I just looked up. I put the Retro Pis in a mini Nintendo case, so it looks like a Nintendo Classic.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. But unlike the Nintendo Classic, you aren't limited to 30 games. I do like over 5,000, but that's another story.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
got you.
yeah. So do I know Retro Pies? Oh man, call me back later. And if you're trying to learn anything about Retro Pies, I'm gonna blow your mind with that one.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I've dabbled with it in the past. I set up one for the kids using the Raspberry Pi just to play around it with it. I
Play
had a
around.
couple old ROMs I found, so hooked it up for them. It's that nostalgic type of
Oh
feeling you
no,
get with it.
yeah, we'll talk after this.
Okay, yeah,
No,
but
definitely. Like that's fun.
mhm. Go ahead.
No, no, I was saying that's funny because I actually did look up. My new thing was to make they're small, but you have to hook them up to the TV. So I was trying to think how I can make it portable for people. And the latest thing I was looking at is there is actually a Game Boy case that you can put the Retro Pi Zero in, not the
Okay.
not the newer ones. It's like a little mini,
Mhm.
and it's it plays all the games, and it's in a little Game Boy case, and you could with a couple of tweaks hook it to a TV,
Mhm.
and it's compact, so it comes with its own batteries, and I think the battery. So yeah, just show you how much RetroPie, how that just sets off a flag. Yes, I was just looking yesterday at how to build a mini RetroPie gaming system in a Game Boy case.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely hit you up offline about, about those pies, man. But let me see. It was another question. It says, "What do you, what can you guys tell a man who has basic knowledge of computers but wants to become a network specialist?" I can answer it too, but go ahead. Let me let you go.
Actually, I wanted to hear yours
Oh,
first.
okay. Well, no, I was just gonna say, just go on and study up and try to take that network plus exam by CompTIA if you have the basic knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
what I mean by basic knowledge is A plus. You know, if you have A plus, you know, I try to tell people to take it in steps. You know, start off with A plus, then Net plus. That'll get you the basics of networking. So and
that's
then you go from there. You can either go the Cisco route, you can go, you
that's
know,
it.
other ways. So I mean,
I say he says when you say basic, um man, see where you are. Test yourself. If you say network security, being that you need a certification, they don't play around
mm,
because we can say hardware, but keep in mind, if a computer goes down, you might have some in the back. Take one out the box, plug it in, you're great. If the network goes down, the building is doomed.
mm,
So that's why I said pick your poison. If you're help desk and somebody's printer goes out and you got to replace or do some drivers, that's one thing. But if the network goes out, oh man, you got to have some skills and you got to know where your skills stand. Because if you don't know what a network packet is
mm.
and how the 7 layer, I hope I'm not embarrassing myself, uh, uh, 7 layer network,
Oh, you talking about the
uh,
OSI model?
the
OSI?
OSI
Yeah,
model. Thank
yeah.
you. If you don't know how the OSI model works, uh, then you need to reevaluate what you consider basic.
Mm,
Um, you have to start from the bottom because with stuff like that, this is IT technology, and as much as you want to put it off, if you want to go up that high, you have to start from the bottom and know the basics. If you do that, you'll really never run into a mistake when getting up to the top because you understand the basics. So with anything IT, you cannot jump into it. Like
mm,
you said, start from basic A plus. If you got the A plus, then move on up. But
mm.
to jump to like, oh, I want to be a hacker and let's go to networking, security, and I talk to too many people. I'm just like, uh, man, I can't wait for you to do that. So, what are we gonna do about securing these servers? What's a server?
Yep.
Like it. What is your premises on basis? Like you might be doing network security, but how do you know what a Cat 5 is? Do you know
mm,
what the difference between a Cat 5 and a Cat 6?
mm.
If you can't answer that question, then you don't need to be networking nothing.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, my advice is like you said, start from the bottom, know what you know, and
Mm,
build up from there. When I say IT requires experience, it does. But once you get that experience, it's wonderful,
yeah, and
especially in your field.
yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that's what I try to tell people as well, man. I mean, it's hard to hop into the security side because everybody wants to be a hacker and they want to get
Hacker,
into
it
they want
sounds
to get
so
into
cool, but
the
it don't
cybersecurity
work like
part.
that.
You have to understand the basics of how a computer actually works before you can
Work
get to that point. And understanding networks, understanding servers, like what you just said, you know what I'm saying? So that's all important to know. I mean, how can you hack something if you don't even know how it works? Because that's really what hacking is. You looking at how something works and finding a vulnerability to
and
exploit
you
it.
have to you have to outthink it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll give you a quick example. Like really, I did IT security. I am a hacker. I don't want to brag, but when they say, oh, stealing somebody's identity, I know the steps to doing that. I can do it. I can really get, but I have no urge to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just watching War Games last night, and I'm actually very appreciative. Old school movie that it was kind of one of the realest hacking movies that I've seen, because the movie Hackers is just hilarious with their
Yeah.
typing and the pictures are going
Yeah.
around. It don't work like that.
Not
That
at
is
all.
not how it works.
Not at
And
all.
y'all see these, y'all see these movies and get it twisted. That is not how it works. So I'll give you a perfect example of, I have a whole bunch of hacking skills.
Mm-hmm.
And most of you be like, man, how do you hack and a program to do this? And I kind of be like, slow down. I know all of this, but I know the basics. And the basics says that no matter how much I know how to hack a network and blah, 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 all that is unnecessary if you know computers and how basic passwords work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know basic password policies on Windows? Because if you know that, you might not have to hack.
Yeah.
It's one thing called social engineering,
Yeah.
which we don't hack nothing. We call and try to get your password from you with small talk and conversation. Hey, how you doing today? This is so and so from IT. I've never heard from you. I'm new here. Blah blah blah. Your computer running slow? The answer is always yes. Well, okay. Well, I'm sitting here trying to do it now. Man, I see what's the problem. Oh my goodness. If they don't, yours is running slow. I'm getting an update right now, name drop or something. Man, I can get you up and running today. I just need your username. I just need your password right quick so I can log in and blah blah blah. Catch them off guard with a conversation is I love cat 27 from the lady that's been working there that you got her social engineering. So bam, you got a password. You ain't have to hack nothing because
They
just
gave
an
it to you.
example.
Yeah.
They gave it to you. Or, the fact that if you know Windows, you should know they have natural backdoors in them.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things have backdoors. So while you're trying to do all this hacking and just going out, you don't know the basis of how an OS works. Yet you're trying to hack into a big network because you read up on run this program on Lint. That is not how it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, start from the bottom, get your basics. Once you get the basics, you can do anything you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So no,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Start, get your A plus, and that is awesome that you said that. Because starting from that, that's what everybody told me, and I agree. Starting from that, it'll make you realize if you want to go into software or hardware.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because I break it up into those two. Because you can do security dealing with the software and know a little about the programming aspect of it, and vice versa. Go into straight software, but you don't know what it's running on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, A plus, know what you want to do, and start from the bottom.
Okay. Yeah. So I got another question, and then I'm gonna stop it there. But have you ever set up phone system cabling like 50 plus pair systems or fiber optics?
So I have run Cat 5 cable, Cat 5 and Cat 6 cable. I hadn't
Mm.
run Cat 3. Is that phone line?
Yeah.
I I,
Yeah. I haven't.
I think
I
it might
haven't.
be. Oh,
I can't
I just say,
remember.
I just say phone line, trying to sound all intelligent stuff. No, I definitely have ran Cat 5 and Cat 6 is same thing as Cat 5. Just
Mm-hmm.
more. I hadn't run fiber optics because I'm scared. It is expensive, and I hadn't worked for a
Yeah.
company that actually runs it. I know Cox does it, but I hadn't got to that. Phone line system. That is my weakness. I've seen people run it with the little testers and machines and the
Mm-hmm.
big boards. That intimidates me. As much as I know about computers, I will cry coming up to a phone line board. I
Yeah.
respect anybody who knows how to trace one of them lit because a phone line board usually takes a Cat 5 cable
Mm-hmm.
and cuts it and splits it to all the little
Yep.
individual wires and then hooks it on the board.
Yeah.
Uh, man, I saw that and walked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I used to work for a company back in the day, and they had to bring in a phone guy, and he would always come in and fix the phones. Yeah,
I
that's
I I could not. Now, as far as like setting up network phones
yeah.
nowadays, which just connect to the
Voice over IP.
server and you voice over IP, I
Yeah.
got you. But if I got to go to the back room and look at the cord and crimp a RJ45 and trace it back to the board with the lid,
Mm-hmm.
machine where you're
Yeah.
going through all the thousand. You got to find. Oh no, y'all can have that. Much respect. Not doing it.
Yeah, man. That's
So no, yeah, I've ran cable, Cat 5. That's it.
hmm
Nothing big, but never did the phone lines and boards. I was always trying to avoid that because usually yeah, one of the jobs, it's like, yeah, we're having problems with the phone, and you are IT, and they give you the little machine to trace with the voices because it's like you should know this. Mm-mm.
yeah.
No sir, I don't know where that goes.
Yeah.
So,
But so that's pretty much it, man. I definitely appreciate you coming through, and gracing my channel, with your presence, your
no,
IT
I
presence.
I appreciate
Yeah.
looking me up to be like, let me talk to this guy. He knows a little something.
Yeah, yeah.
So, especially about them retro pies. Oh man, we got a good one after that.
Oh yeah, yeah. But nah, man. Like I said, if nobody else has any more questions, I'm gonna go down and end it here though. But like I said, I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys coming out to hang with me and watch or whatever, and get some information that you may or may not know. You know what I'm saying, and just hanging out with me. You know what I'm saying, and really the whole purpose of these videos, I'm just trying to help other young people that are trying to get into IT, and direct them on the right path if they need the help. You know what I'm saying, and so like I said, I appreciate everybody that's coming through. Uh,
No problem.
and
Sure, yeah, I got your protection out there.
oh yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah.
mine. I got mine. So yeah, my other part-time business is collectibles, as you can
Oh yeah,
see, and
yeah.
then just
I meant
my
to say that, man.
background.
Go on and shout out everything you do, man.
All
Yeah.
right, so yeah, other than IT, I kind of got off of it, but yeah, I sell collectibles. So I mean, the rare good stuff, y'all. I'll let you go in list circle or whatever. I'll do this real quick before we shut down. Let me give you a little tour of my new inventory now.
Mm-hmm.
Store.
Oh
Funko
man.
Pops. Oh, it's sick. It's sick now. I have a whole stock now. No, it's real. Here are some rare statues and trophies you will not find anywhere else.
Oh man.
And the life size helmets. I had two of these. My boy came here and
Oh
was like, "I'm
man.
taking that with me. I'm sending you the money right. Sending you the money right now. I'm about to open this box." He took it out and put it on. It's the tightest thing. So yeah,
Yo, man,
get
you
at me
gotta
if you're
you
looking
gotta
for.
open up a store, man.
No, that's what I'm
A
doing.
physical
This is my
store? Okay.
online. Oh,
Or online?
yeah, online store. The physical stores, I've been there, done that.
Okay.
Uh, the rent and with this Corona thing. So
Oh
right now,
yeah.
I'm gonna get a good website. Um, I already have the name. It's called muchneededstuff.com, and I'm actually working on that right now, redoing it. I had it before. If not, go to Macari and look for the collector. MERCARI.
Mm-hmm.
It's online. I think it's better than eBay. And my name on there is the collection. So anything you see here is already posted. But yeah, my website is coming soon.
Okay.
If anything, y'all still listening, give me a call. I can find anything for you. Uh, Look up my Instagram, ChrisJWill82, or give me a call, 225-939-5655.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was gonna do, man. Just go on, send me all your information. I'm glad you shot it out, but send me all your information. I'm gonna put it in the description of the video on how they
Awesome.
could contact you if they need any
Awesome.
rare stuff. You know what
I
I'm
know,
saying?
right?
So,
Not gonna lie. I got a couple of these life size.
oh man,
It
that's
ain't
nice.
metal. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
metal, but I'm loving this thing. I gotta convince myself I cannot go in public with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a grown man now. I can't do it.
Hey, hold on. We got one more question. I want to ask this before you go.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah. This guy, Grateful Living, he says he's starting a software development job with the DoD on the
Uh,
20th. Any advice? that you could think of?
Uh, software development.
Yeah, software development job.
Find out if you're gonna actually be writing a language, writing the software, testing the software, or going through a learning process. What you want to find out is if they're going to throw you into it or if you're going to start small where they build you up. Now, don't assume, do not assume. And being that it's DOD, I kind of think they might want to throw you in the mix because they don't play, but let them, if you don't really, even if you have the knowledge, uh, let them know that you're confident in your skills, but you want to keep the stress level down and be a protege for as long as you can until you feel confident to do it on your own. Make that clear. Be like, I know what I know, but I'm gonna be smart and mature about this.
Mm.
Um, uh, give me the lesson plans or let me know exactly what we need to do, and uh, hook me up with somebody I can kind of follow behind to make sure I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
um, See why. That's all I'm saying. Because usually with stuff like that, jobs they'll throw you in the mix and
Mm.
watch you drown, or they'll start you slow and watch you build up. The thing is, you can't really tell, so take some initiative on yourself. When you come in, be like, I'm excited about this job. I have my knowledge. You know my knowledge, but can I sit back and watch you guys for a little while to make sure I get it right? And I got to say, me personally, that's much respect. I'll be like, I love that because most people try to come in, show off, and screw something up. Mm-mm. No, no, no. Um, Start small. Let them know you want to watch them and watch how to do it right. And from there, you get more respect and build up where they just like, oh, yeah, he was with me behind me watching how to do that. And that's if it's a situation. If the situation is like that, take advantage. If it's not, learn as much as you can. Learn as
Mm.
much as you can about what you do. Always go above and beyond because you want that advantage. You
Mm.
want to say, oh, well, I know how to do this and nobody else does. So you a step ahead of the game.
Yeah, and also if I could add to that, you know, take notes. And I mean, if you got any college experience, that's one thing you do in college. You got to take notes. So just take notes on what you're doing on a job, and take good notes. And if you have to, rewrite them when you get home or something. And then you can also, with those notes, when you're away from those people, practice or go through what they've shown you. That way you can ingrain it in. Because to me, I'm the type of person, I have to do it to learn it. I can't just sit there and watch somebody.
Hand,
I got to
Hands
do it.
on.
Yeah.
It's straight up hands on.
Yeah.
That is my biggest thing. My philosophy is I will break this. I will find out everything I'm not supposed to do
Mm.
so I know what actually I'm supposed to do. And when I say that, I mean with hands on. Don't go to the job and break nothing. But if you know you use a program that you can easily log on to, and this is part of your job of doing testing or making sure it works properly,
Mm.
destroy it. Part of mine was hacking. You really do. You have to go through and know how it works. So I know if you're logging in, sit there and put 00 star 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 and see if the program recognizes random characters and give you an error. If it doesn't, then you need to talk to the programming people because it should throw out random characters and you just discovered something new that they don't know about that could help their security even better. So yeah, play around with it, break it, get to know it, especially if that's your career, you know?
Mm. Exactly, man. But yeah, let me I think I got your Instagram. Do you want me to put it in the chat right fast for anybody?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Chris J. Will 82.
Yeah, I'll drop it in there right fast. So if anybody, wants to contact you about
Yeah,
your
my link.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
business links are in the bios with that. They can get in contact
Okay.
me with that.
Okay, cool. And also send me what else, like when you get a website or something, I attach it to the email. I mean
Oh, no problem.
to the video and everything. But no, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. I'm gonna go on and close it out here, man. Y'all have a good day, and like I said,
Awesome,
appreciate it. All right, peace.
awesome. Later, yeah.